picture this for a moment. It's the 1980s. There's a woman, Joan Quigley, in her San Francisco apartment, carefully drawing up astrological charts.
Right.
Meanwhile, across the country, in the Oval Office, the president's schedule is being finalized. We're talking state visits, major treaty signings, even the exact takeoff time for Air Force One.
Okay.
And all of it, secretly, is being run by Quigley first, making sure it all aligns with, favorable planets, transits and trines, I think they call them.
That's the terminology, yes. It sounds almost unbelievable.
It does. But this wasn't some, fringe conspiracy theory floating around.
No, this was documented.
Exactly. After the assassination attempt on President Reagan, Nancy Reagan was, terrified, understandably. And she became convinced the stars could offer protection that maybe the Secret Service couldn't guarantee.
A sort of cosmic security detail?
Kind of. And Reagan's own chief of staff, who was pretty disgruntled later on, revealed that for years, actual policy decisions, big ones, were shifted, rescheduled, all based on these astrological recommendations.
And most people had absolutely no idea. Voters, even cabinet members?
None at all. It's a truly bizarre image, isn't it?
Yeah.
The leader of, a global superpower with all the intelligence agencies you can imagine,
right,
quietly checking his calendar with the cosmos. But here's the thing. It's actually not that isolated. It seems to be part of this strange and really ancient pattern. It runs deeper than you might think.
Absolutely. This connection between power, politics, and, what we might loosely call the occult.
Yeah. So in this deep dive, that's what we want to explore, this surprising, persistent link across different times, different cultures.
Looking at how people in power, rulers, leaders, have sought influence, maybe control, beyond the sort of conventional methods.
Often in secret, too.
Yeah.
And how these beliefs actually play out. We're hoping to uncover some really fascinating facts, maybe find some connections you wouldn't expect.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, to really grasp this pattern, I think we need to go way back, way, way back, to ancient Egypt. Because there, what we might label magic today wasn't some, fringe thing people dabbled in.
Not at all. It was seen as a completely legitimate force. Powerful, even foundational.
Tell us about that. What was their concept?
Well, they called it Heka. And it wasn't about pulling rabbits out of hats or anything like that.
Right.
It was understood as a divine, creative force, actually integral to the world, even to creation itself. The gods used Heka.
So not inherently good or evil.
Exactly. It was a tool, a fundamental power that permeated everything. And they had very practical applications, like magic by right.
Magic by right?
Yeah, using specific spells, utterances. They believed these could literally infuse power into things, even apparently through spittle from gods like Re-Adam.
Huh.
And you see amulets, talismans everywhere in the archaeological record for protection, for good fortune. The idea was they contained this magical energy, this Heka.
So Heka is this divine creative force, but then you also get these rituals for dealing with enemies. That sounds pretty aggressive. How did that fit in? Was that seen as a natural use of Heka?
That's a great question. And yes, it was absolutely seen as a natural extension of its power. These were called execration rituals.
Execration rituals.
And they weren't just, someone doing a curse in secret. These were state-sanctioned practices, official.
State-sanctioned. For what purpose?
Primarily to destroy enemies. That could be personal enemies of the pharaoh, political threats, rival nations, even hostile divine forces. And crucially, it was used to suppress revolts.
Ah, maintaining stability.
Precisely. Vital for the state. And the methods were, pretty vivid.
How so?
They'd create figures of prisoners, enemies, usually out of clay, sometimes wood or wax.
Like little dolls.
Sort of, yeah. Representing the enemy. And then they would ritually mutilate these figures.
Mutilate them?
Yes. Piercing the head with holes, cutting the bodies into pieces, breaking them. Then they'd often be buried, sometimes upside down or even burned. The idea was to magically destroy the actual enemy through the effigy.
Wow. That's intense.
It is. And you see the symbolism of domination elsewhere, too. Like depictions of bound prisoners under the pharaoh's feet, on his sandals, or on cosmetic boxes, even on royal chairs, symbolically trampling the enemy.
So it permeated their visual culture, too?
Absolutely. They even killed certain kinds of ritual plaques by driving nails into them. And remember, this wasn't some fringe group doing this.
Right. You said it was official.
Performed by trained scribes, priests. part of the state apparatus. There's even a famous case, the harem conspiracy against Ramses III, where accusations of sorcery, of using this kind of magic hostilely, were central to the trial.
So magic, or hika, was just a recognized part of the political toolkit, for good or ill.
Exactly. It was just part of how the world worked and how power operated.
It really is striking how these ideas echo. If we jump forward thousands of years, different continent entirely, modern-day Ghana, you find remarkably similar notions about spiritual forces influencing politics.
You absolutely do. Though, of course, with its own unique cultural expression, in Ghana you often hear the term juju.
Juju. What exactly does that encompass?
It's sort of a common catch-all term for a range of occult practices. In popular understanding, it often gets equated with witchcraft.
Okay.
And the belief is incredibly widespread. There's a pervasive sense that the occult is, well, everywhere. That it's used by almost everyone, including, and perhaps especially, politicians.
So politics isn't just about rallies and votes.
For many Ghanaians, no. It's seen as a deeply spiritual affair as much as a physical one. There's a common belief, for instance, that elections aren't just decided on polling day.
What do you mean?
That they're essentially fixed in the spiritual realm beforehand. The real battle is fought there, using these occult means.
That must lead to some pretty wild stories and beliefs around election time.
Oh, absolutely. The anecdotes are fascinating. For example, Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, there were widespread rumors he ruled with the help of a powerful deity called Kankanyeme.
Oh, God.
Allegedly imported from Guinea, yes. And the rumor was that this spiritual backing made people genuinely fear him.
Wow. Any more recent examples?
Definitely. Take the 2000 election. There's a famous story about the eventual winner, Kufuor, apparently riding a ram in a particular town, Yendi, as part of a ritual for success.
Riding a ram.
That's the story. And interestingly, subsequent candidates from his party who apparently refused to perform similar rituals are said to have lost their local elections, the implication being the ritual was key.
So the belief links ritual action directly to electoral outcome.
Very directly. And then you get explanations for things like overvoting, when more votes are counted than there are registered voters.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Clerical errors, usually.
Well, one explanation rooted in local folklore suggests occult powers released, and I quote, thousands of dwarves or goblins to spiritually cast votes.
Okay, that's quite an explanation.
It is, and it goes beyond elections. People sometimes attribute strange events like really bad highway accidents, major floods, like the Accra disaster in 2015, unexplained fires.
National calamities.
Right. Those are sometimes linked by some people to politicians' occult dealings, maybe angering local gods or spirits through broken pacts or improper rituals.
So cause and effect, but operating on a spiritual plane.
Exactly. There was even a period back in 2000 with a series of disturbing murders where victims were found with missing private parts.
Oh, dear.
And this was widely interpreted in the popular sphere as ritual murders, performed to gain spiritual power for electoral success.
These are powerful narratives. It makes you think, how much is it about the actual practice versus the power of the rumor itself? How do these stories function politically?
That's a crucial point. The rumors themselves are incredibly potent political tools. They're really versatile.
How so?
Well, a politician might use them, maybe indirectly, to project an image of power like, don't mess with me, I have spiritual backing.
Intimidation through implication.
Sort of. Or they might use them to try and seek justice if they feel wrongly accused, maybe by calling on spirits to curse their accusers. It can even be used to try and enforce loyalty within a party through veiled threats of spiritual consequences.
And on the flip side, as attack tools.
Oh, absolutely. Spreading negative occult rumors is a classic smear tactic, accusing opponents of using juju to cause confusion, to harm rivals, or to illegitimately win elections.
Like specific party examples.
Yeah, there have been accusations, for instance, the NDC party accusing the NPT party of using spells to try and destabilize their government, cause infighting, things like that.
Does whether people believe these rumors depend on, say, their own politics?
Very much so. If a strange event happens, like an unexpected death or accident involving a politician, it might lend credibility to existing rumors. But also your own political affiliation massively shapes how you interpret these rumors.
You'll dismiss bad rumors about your own side, maybe.
Generally, yes. And you'll be more inclined to believe negative rumors about the opposition. Politicians are aware of this, of course.
So they try to manage their image.
Definitely. Some try to strategically avoid any association with juju by publicly aligning themselves with Pentecostal Christianity, for example, which tends to view traditional occult practices very negatively.
Public piety as a shield.
You could see it that way. Or they might just flat out deny any alleged links. But sometimes the occult is actually invoked almost like a referee.
A referee? How?
There was a case where one politician, Malam Isa, publicly dared another, President Kufuor, to meet him at Antoa.
Was Antoa?
It's a very famous, powerful shrine known for its river deity. The challenge was essentially, let's go before this powerful, neutral, spiritual authority and see who's telling the truth. It shows how, for some, the occult can be seen as a trusted adjudicator when maybe the formal legal system is doubted.
Fascinating. So this deep-seated quest for hidden influence, for an edge.
Yeah.
It doesn't just stop with ancient magic or modern spiritual beliefs.
No, it seems to adapt.
As we move closer to our own time, the search sometimes puts on a different cloak, maybe a more scientific one, which brings us to things like remote viewing and secret government programs.
That's right. A really well-known example is the CIA's program, eventually dubbed Stargate.
Stargate? Sounds like science fiction.
It kind of does, but it was real. It ran for about 20 years, from the 70s into the 90s, and they were experimenting with what they called remote viewing.
Which is what exactly?
Yeah.
Seeing things far away.
Essentially, yes. Trying to achieve non-local perception. Getting information about distant or hidden targets purely through psychic means. They worked with individuals believed to be particularly gifted, like Ingo Swann.
And did they use these people for actual operations?
Well, the claims are that, yes, these talented individuals were used in operations that are actually still classified, despite the whole program being officially shut down and declassified.
Why shut it down if it worked?
The official reason given was unreliability, that the results weren't consistent enough for intelligence gathering.
But you sound skeptical of that reason.
Well, many involved in or close to the program argue that unreliability was maybe a convenient public explanation, that the reality is more complex, perhaps involving successes they don't want to acknowledge, or phenomena they couldn't fully control or explain.
This really throws up a big question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How on earth do we tell the difference between, genuine phenomena, if it exists,
Right.
versus just really skilled trickery, or even outright delusion or fabrication, especially when governments are involved?
It's incredibly difficult. And it touches on the nature of scientific skepticism itself.
How so?
There was an interesting point made, I think it was on Reddit actually, that scientists sometimes assume they're just too smart to be fooled by trickery.
The expert's fallacy.
Kind of, but the argument is that professional frauds, mentalists, magicians, they are really skilled at deception. And if scientists aren't trained in those specific deception techniques, they can be conned, even in lab settings.
So skepticism needs to be informed about methods of deception too.
Exactly. And here's a surprising twist. Some argue that it was actually parapsychologists, people studying psychic phenomena, who pioneered some really rigorous scientific methods.
Really?
Because they were constantly trying to prove phenomena that faced enormous skepticism. They had this incredibly high, often moving bar of evidence to meet. So they were apparently among the first to really develop and push for things like double-blind studies, meticulous controls for confounding variables, things that are now standard in many scientific fields.
So ironically, the effort to prove the unprovable helped strengthen scientific methods overall.
That's the argument, yeah. And despite the official denials and the skepticism, the belief persists. You still have former intelligence officers, special ops people, even scientists and some elected officials who come forward saying, look, psychic abilities, it's real and it's being used.
And they question the public denials.
They do. They ask why, if it's useless, was there so much secret research? Why the continued classification? It keeps the debate alive.
So, quite a journey we've taken. We started with Nancy Reagan secretly consulting an astrologer for the White House schedule.
A direct line to the cosmos from the Oval Office.
Then all the way back to ancient Egypt, where Heka, this divine magic, was actual statecraft, using these intense execration rituals to literally destroy enemies symbolically.
A core part of their political and spiritual reality.
Then jumping forward to modern Ghana, seeing how juju plays this really complex role in politics. Beliefs that spiritual forces can fix elections, explain disasters, the power of rumor.
Yeah, a living example of these intertwined beliefs today.
And finally, landing on these modern, almost sci-fi attempts like the CIA's Stargate program.
Yeah.
Trying to harness remote viewing that non-local perception.
It really highlights this enduring human desire, doesn't it? Especially among those in power, a desire for certainty, for control, for an edge in a world that's fundamentally unpredictable.
Yeah. Even when you have immense conventional power armies, intelligence, wealth, there seems to be this pull towards something.
Yeah.
More. Something hidden.
Whether you call it divine forces like Heka or spiritual pacts like with Juju or even trying to scientifically access Psyche, it reflects this consistent drive to understand, maybe manipulate, forces that feel just beyond our normal grasp.
It suggests a kind of paradox, maybe. That immense power can coexist with, or even breed, a reliance on the seemingly irrational to navigate deep uncertainties.
I think that's a key insight. It shows how much the psychological need for control can shape decisions, shape perceptions, even shape what's considered legitimate power. It definitely blurs the lines we like to draw between statecraft and something else.
So what does it all mean for us? Looking at this, it really feels like in the grand theater of power, politics, history, that curtain between what's seen and unseen, between the rational calculations and these seemingly irrational beliefs or practices, it's often much thinner than we tend to think.
It certainly seems that way.
It's a reminder, I suppose, that the human quest for answers, for control, for just understanding the unknown, it takes us down some truly fascinating, unexpected, and sometimes, frankly, bizarre paths. Makes you question what forces really are shaping the world around us, doesn't it?